And we are live. DJ, kick the music.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Moose.
What a day.
What a day. Huge
We got
number.
a lot to talk about, Chacha.
I mean, I don't even know where to start, dog.
Okay, first of all, I just want to thank the community. Without the community, this wouldn't be possible. You know what I'm saying, Chacha? This was massive.
This is the part where you thank everybody, right?
Yes. This is a massive accomplishment. What a day to be alive. 10/20/22. Oh, man. C-band, 130 million by end of year. Dude, we have so much to digest, and there's not enough time. So let's roll with it, Chacha. We got so much to take care of.
Yo, so I wanted to break this down into a couple of different segments to the podcast. Let's do a wireless segment. Let's do a fiber segment. Let's do a financials segment. And then we'll do a network segment. What do you think, Moose?
I love it. Let's make it happen, man.
All right, Moose. Let's start with the first thing, buddy. Let's start with wireless. I'm going to talk some numbers here. We'll take it piece by piece. You know, jump in whenever you feel like it. If I forget something, overlook something, catch me. All right? AT&T wireless ads plus 708,000 phone net ads. I think total connections, they probably were approaching 1 million, but the phone net ads, the nice, profitable, you know, attractive ARPU type lines, 708,000. All right, so at 708, we got Verizon tomorrow. They're not going to add much, if any. And then we got T-Mobile. They'll come later. What do you think are the chances that AT&T leads the industry in phone net ads?
Well, it's interesting, Chacha. If we include prepaid, right, which also did 141,000 net ads.
Plus,
right?
yes.
Yeah,
so
plus,
plus 141,000 for the prepaid. Actually, we should just throw in the churn numbers. I think churn was in at what, 0.84 for the postpaid?
Yep. We knew that it was going to be higher, right? We knew that it was going to be higher. Yeah.
Right, but it's still going to be like industry leading. Like it's going to be right there. Like I don't expect T-Mobile's to be lower. I expect to be right around the same. Verizon's going to be a little bit higher than usual. So I still think it's going to be like one of the best in the industry. Prepaid, you added the 141,000. The churn rate was sub 3% when you include Cricket. We're hearing Cricket's like substantially lower than 3%. Dude, Cricket's magic right now.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. So Cricket's got a lot of good going on. By the way, Moose, 2.2 million subscribers added to AT&T thus far in the 3 quarters this year. What do you think of that number?
You know, a lot of people have been saying that the sleeping giant has been awakened and that, you know, they don't quack as much as the damn thongs, right? They don't clap as hard as the thongs, right? Like we say. But 1.1 million total net ads, including prepaid, is not anything to shrug about, right, Chacha? I mean, this is big numbers here, man.
Yeah, they are big numbers. Well, the question for the last 2 years is when AT&T first started doing this, everybody kept asking, is this sustainable? And the way I looked at the way that they were doing it, I said, yes, Moose, come on, man. I'm on the record saying the growth was sustainable, right?
Yeah.
And it has been.
Yeah. We have been on record. How many podcasts now? I swear, we need people to start checking us. How many times we've said this, Chacha? It's been the same narrative for 2 years. You even called it. You were like, 5 quarters, 6 quarters, 7 quarters. Now what is it? 9 quarters of consistent net ads?
I mean, if you want to talk fiber and wireless, some of these numbers go back 10 quarters. Right. So, yeah, 10 quarters. Now the way that they're doing is interesting. They're doing it in a couple of different ways. Promotions are good, right? They get people, they got people upgrading. You're getting the same deal whether you're a current subscriber or you're switching, right? So they're attractive for the switcher pool. and they're attractive to keep their customers. They're also adding a lot of kids
Yep.
lines, right? So that's sustainable because there's always generations of kids that are going to add lines. And unfortunately, I mean, it's with like gun violence in schools, like it's probably more of a reason now than ever to get your kids phones, you know? Um, can we talk about FirstNet being a big part of this, Moose? I think that's a valid thing to bring up right now. FirstNet
Yep.
added over 300,000 net ads.
And
That's a
yeah,
lot, Moose.
yeah, and that is very quickly approaching the first responder count of Verizon. Because if they do the analysis soon, they're going to be below 5.1 million, like they reported out a couple of months ago, right? That means that AT&T will be almost at parity with them. Remember, I told you, I predicted this, Chacha. I predicted this.
I think you said Q4 2022 and I said Q1 2023.
Yes.
I think you might be right, Doug.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit premature. I mean, it's impressive actually. But 300,000 net ads, according to the FirstNet, would it be considered a president or VP? Whoever's running the FirstNet,
Mhm.
he came out and said today that we're right on par with Verizon.
And that's saying a lot, Chacha. Because think
Well,
about the
that's a
news
couple
that
million.
happened
That's a
today.
couple million a year, Moose. Once they got the ball rolling, right? Million and a half, right? They've been adding 300,000, 280,000 quarterly.
But here's the thing, Chacha. The biggest news story besides the earnings of AT&T was that Boeing stopped their contract with Verizon. Dude, this is bigger than just the headline. Okay? What does this mean? That means that big companies are willing to take a risk as the secondary backup, as a secondary connection. Dude, Verizon is very much screwed because Boeing is one step away from a defense contractor. Remember, they're commercial and they're defense. Boeing, right? They're both. We have Lockheed, Northrop, Raytheon. If T-Mobile gets one of those, then the conversation of privacy and security and reliability is out the window. It's done. Because Boeing, right? The competition between Airbus, the defense contracts at Boeing, dude, this is big. I'm telling you right now, Verizon is going to lose so many public sector and those institutional subscribers. I am very worried for them. I'm serious. Very worried.
I think it's a testament to, the negligence of taking care of business. You get customers, you want to keep customers. Sometimes that means you have to fine tune the offers. Sometimes it means bringing a new proposition, a new value proposition to the table. What do you think Verizon has done up to this point? They've hung their hat on reliability and coverage and, the largest network. And now the companies are saying, well, we can get essentially similar network experiences on any network. Right? So what are you doing for us? Are you going to give us deals on phones? Are you going to give us deals on lines? Can you offer us something unique in the form of experiences for, upgrades or programs or whatever? Bro, this is a huge thing. So let me be pretty
Mhm.
candid about this, Moose. This is not like just T-Mobile gaining one. This is a kink in the armor for Verizon. Right? Like we've said time and time again, Verizon won't be worried until they lose these types of deals. And here
Mhm.
it is. They're starting to lose these deals. Now AT&T frequently gets these kind of deals too, and they kept
Right.
theirs. Right? They're still the primary provider here.
Right.
But there's going to be a lot of customers that work for Boeing that have their choice between AT&T and T and Verizon that had Verizon.
Mhm.
Now they either have to pick AT&T or T-Mobile. So actually, this is a net positive for AT&T because there is no doubt some people who will not want T-Mobile and they're going to want
Right.
AT&T.
You're absolutely right. There are going to
Right.
be some employees of Boeing, as in that example, that they're like, no, 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 no. I have already experienced T-Mobile. I'm not going to, have my reliability compromised, right? So I'd
Mhm.
rather go with AT&T. And, in certain aspects of Boeing, they could even qualify for a FirstNet line,
Yeah,
because there are first responders in air traffic control, the ATF, right?
they qualify.
Right. Yeah, ATF, because
Yeah.
if you're in a disaster recovery mode or you're in investigation mode, right, for like a plane crash or whatever, Boeing sends their engineers and their top people, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, oh man, it's a tough situation. But what I'm saying is this, Chacha. This earnings call immediately should be shaking Verizon to the core for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, we're going to see a collapse officially of the number one carrier, and it's going to continue happening. We have talked about this for months now, Chacha. Every month, massive losses, massive market share losses in every single demographic, every single DMA, every single area. There is no hope for Verizon. And now some of the community is saying that even if Verizon was to change pricing, they still wouldn't go to Verizon. I'm like, damn. So what do you want?
Wow. Wow, that's pretty shocking. Verizon's always been able to offer a good service experience, and I think that's what people have always looked for. When you think Verizon, you think quality networking. So is it a question about their networking, or is it just a question about what are we really getting for what we're paying for?
Right.
Or is it a combination of the two possibly? I don't know. Um,
See, the
Go ahead,
the
Moose,
other
go ahead.
thing that I was thinking, Chacha, is we never did predictions, right? We never did predictions of how many losses Verizon would have for this quarter, how many net ads T-Mobile and cable and AT&T would have. Um, but they did say something critical on the earnings on I forgot where it was, but it basically said that AT&T believes that they will be industry leading. Um, industry leading net ads,
They
right?
said they would be industry leading for first responder,
Right,
industry leading for consumer net ads.
right.
By
Consumer
the way,
net ads.
they did say that there was growth in the business segment as well. So, I mean, I guess what we should do now, Moose, is kind of look at the fiber side. Is that you think it's a good time to pivot?
Yeah, I mean the fiber side is really interesting. So there was a couple of things before the earnings, right? So we should mention yesterday's, right? Yesterday's news is big, Chacha, because that effectively allows AT&T to serve new markets that they've never been in before. And they even mention in the press release on Bloomberg, right? Mesa, Arizona, and this Indiana place were the two test trials
Oh, it's
that
huge.
that essentially checkboxed what the investors wanted, and boom, they're in. Dude, this is big deal, dude. That means places like the Cha Carlos has been saying Las Vegas is on deck for
It's a big
AT&T
market.
fiber.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
big market.
it's a big
But
market that's never been served.
yeah, so that then what you end up doing is you end up looking at it as a situation of growth and fiber penetration, which is something actually that they talked about. Like John Stankey was talking about it. I think he was on CNBC, Squawk on the Street or whatever. Well, let's get to the fiber numbers. So fiber is an absolute growth vector for AT&T. Plus 338,000, second best ever quarter for ads. 11 consecutive quarters of 200,000 ads of fiber. Here's a quote from John Stankey Moose. This one's good right here, man. I'd rather add 1 million fiber customers in 1 year than add 1 million fixed wireless access customers in a quarter. What do you think of that, buddy?
This
Did you get that quote, Moose?
We need to say this again to underscore it. This is big.
I'd rather add 1 million fiber customers in 1 year than add 1 million fixed wireless access customers in 1 quarter.
Do you know why he said that, dog?
I know why he said that.
Let me double click on that. Fiber ARPU for
Very high.
Q3,
Yeah.
62.62.
Yes.
Dude, this is huge compared to ARPU of mobility. And the same with fixed wireless.
Well,
It's just big
mobility
time.
ARPU is pretty close. It's at $55. The problem is the fixed wireless access. It's not profitable. Fixed wireless access for AT&T, probably the ARPU is probably in the 30s. It's hard to create profitability and margins in something that's hard to create capacity. I know why he said what he said. He's got 7 million fiber customers now.
Yep.
You know what, you got, like, a lot of us are like hoping and praying that someday AT&T makes a U-turn and does fixed wireless access. I've never been so convinced that they will never do fixed wireless access on the mobile network. That is not going to happen as long as John Stankey is the CEO. It ain't going to happen.
Stankey is a guy that understands that when you go fixed wireless, right? Hear me out, Cha-Cha. I'm going to put a scenario for you, okay? If you go the fixed wireless route, you are going to have to upgrade that equipment more times within a 10-year span than if you were to upgrade fiber. Because you are only upgrading 2 things in a fiber situation, and you can attest to this. If you wanted to get the 10 gig upgrade, right? All you need to do is get the new 10 gig box that's coming out next year. Right? But if you want to get faster speed and more capacity to a fixed wireless node, like in the millimeter wave case or in the C-band case, you're going to have to upgrade the backhaul. You're going to have to upgrade the equipment. You're going to have to potentially get more spectrum. You're going to potentially have to get a new device in order to capture all that additional aggregated spectrum. Dude, we're talking about 5 different things that I named off when AT&T only has to upgrade 2 things. The router at the premise of the customer and the switch at the central office, because the fiber's already there. The fiber can handle as much capacity as you want it to. It's done. All you need to do is upgrade the switch and upgrade the router. That's it.
So how about some of these other numbers, Moose? Losses. 367,000 DSL customers. That exceeds the gains of the fiber customers.
Well, remember, with every DSL removal, right, that ARPU is lower than fiber. So also we have to keep in mind this too, Cha-Cha, that some people that are in that boat of DSL may come back in the future, because right now, right, the DSL hasn't been upgraded to fiber. But I can show you, you know this, look at your neighborhood, right? The neighborhood adjacent to you is getting upgraded with fiber.
Everybody here was DSL, now it's fiber.
Right. So it's just a matter of time. Those folks might come back. But what gets them very sticky, right? Like you talked about it in one of the podcasts, is if you have the anchor product as fiber, the wireless comes naturally. Like the anecdotal quote from my Lyft driver, right? She has HBO Max because she has AT&T Fiber 1 gig. She has AT&T Fiber. She didn't even know that she qualified for the 25% off for the wireless. When I mentioned that, boom, no brainer. She was spending $500 a month on T-Mobile, and she thought that that was a deal.
$500 for what?
Dude, she doesn't do a trade-in, so she's not getting the device credits. She has the most expensive plan with no 3rd line off or 4th line or 5th line off, like all these, power users that really, really take advantage of all the promos. That's another thing, guys, too. a lot of people have not taken advantage of everything that they offer. The companies don't offer, they haven't offered them, right? So in this particular case, the lady's paying for every single line. There's no free lines on that T-Mobile account. That's crazy to me.
Moose.
Yeah.
I like my T-Mobile account. I think I'm paying, too little for what I'm getting. But I keep asking every time I call them in, is there any promotion that could sweeten the pot for me? Aren't you supposed to do that with your cell carrier? Be like, hey, can I get a discount?
Yeah, that's another thing that I don't know if people realize this, but do you guys think that every single customer calls and complains and asks them for like a $10 credit here or like a $20 credit there? Very rarely, guys. Unless it's an egregious error, like several $100s more. But if it's like $5 difference, $10 difference, they don't care.
I don't care if it's $10. But if it's 100, I want 100% of that back.
Yeah. And by the way, a lot of people now, because we are now in deep economical heartaches, isn't it impressive that T-Mobile, Cable, and AT&T are going to be reporting net ads in the hundreds of thousands? Isn't that impressive, guys? Because Letitia James kept saying that with only 3 carriers, there's not going to be competition. She kept saying that, T-Mobile's merger is not going to spark competition.
Yeah,
it's going to regress. This is unbelievable. That woman needs to be fired. I'm serious.
She's terrible. Yeah. Yeah, she's a joke. She's terrible. And actually, the worst thing about her is she just fought the merger, but offered no remedy or solutions or any type of concessions or made any deals for the state of New York. She did nobody any favors.
I like how my attorney general handled this.
Didn't you guys get a union over there for T-Mobile?
No, that was Nevada, but we did get a guarantee that the city's in the middle of nowhere, Colorado, which, if you've been to this colorful state, there are quite a few of those. We'll at least get N71 15 megahertz, but thanks to this auction 108, they're guaranteed to get at least 40 megahertz of N71 as well. These are communities that some of the, I think it was AT&T still provided 3G service to and recently turned off.
Terrible.
And, Sneed, you posted a video about T-Mobile and Boeing earlier today. That's some competition.
That's
apparently huge. Boeing sees a competitive advantage of having T-Mobile as their secondary option instead of Verizon.
You know what I think happened, Pete? I think Boeing, whoever's in charge of the accounts for wireless, whoever made that decision, sat down with Mike Sievert, said, "Can you do some things better than whatever Verizon's doing?" And Mike Sievert said, "Absolutely."
It was probably like, "Hey, Mike, can you get us off these bucket plans?"
He probably said, "Get us these new phones, give us this price on these lines, you can have the account." And they probably rocked their world. And that's so here's what I always tell people.
Want like, that price?
When you get a swing one direction, you're taking away from the other side. That's like a +2, right? You take from one and you put it on your side. That's +2. You take them from Verizon, who usually wins these things, and then you give to yourself. That's big time, man.
And one of the things that I wanted to point out with this Boeing, like I mentioned in the earlier segment, this is going to be a domino effect, Chacha. Pete, this is going to be a domino effect. This is not going to be the last big company that is going to go to T-Mobile. Mark my words, within the next 2 weeks, another big one is going to fall for Verizon. I'm telling you right now. What did I say? I'm undefeated, never lost. I'm telling you, dog. This is nuts now, man. I can predict what's going to happen. T-Mobile is so aggressive, so hot. They're like Bad Bunny, man. Better than Drake. Even Kanye recognizes Bad Bunny right now. He's too hot right now. That's how T-Mobile is. That's how cable is, and that's how AT&T is. Verizon is old. They're stuck in their ways. They're going to lose. No matter how many wholesale accounts they get from cable, they are going to regret that decision. I'm telling you right now, Cha-Cha. They're going to regret it.
Yeah, but the energy isn't changing. Hans is there, and that's what it's going to be. So it's going to be more of the same.
The day they start losing earnings per share, the day they start losing revenue, the day that they start losing free cash flow is the day that Hans' clock starts. I'm telling you right now.
The day you can no longer get a fresh pair of gaiters.
Dude, that guy.
Hey, by the way,
nice
to wrap up the fiber piece,
yeah,
AT&T added 500,000 fiber locations this quarter. They're at a almost 38% fiber penetration rate. So things are doing pretty good with fiber. I don't know. They're looking for a fiber investor. They're looking for some partnerships, I believe. So they're, I don't know. You're looking for somebody to help, provide the capital investment into more fiber. So we'll see what comes of that.
I'm going to make a really positive comment about that fiber deployment. That is amazing for the communities that now have access to it.
Facts. It changes people's lives, man. It makes them so much more productive, higher quality service. It makes you, it gives you a better connection for education, makes you more competitive in employment, your entertainment.
Makes it easier to do job training if you're in the position.
Like it's efficiency, it's reliability, it's performance, it's all those things. Yeah, totally agree. Gents, can we do financials?
Yep.
Okay, so from the financial side, and this is why the stock went up 8% today, Moose.
Hey, I got a notification saying my stock went up 10.2. Did it go down a little?
Over 10% today?
Yeah.
Wow.
My dividends are loving it.
Wireless service revenues are up 5.6%. I would say that's probably on the back of the price hike with those legacy plans. I don't really see it any other way because what really changed at AT&T? So,
they got billing mistakes and charging property tax.
One of the things that I was listening to is Craig Moffett from Moffett Nathanson.
Talk to that guy.
That guy, I hate that guy. But
he's the worst, then.
He's the worst, but he tells it how it is. And this is what he said, right? In the beginning of the year, AT&T was scheduled to do $20 billion in free cash flow. $8 billion of that free cash flow, right, was going to go to dividend, right? That's guaranteed. That's on the books. Lock, right? You lock it, right? So $8 billion is already gone. So the remaining 12 that was originally forecasted for the beginning of the year was going to go to debt reduction. That's why he's been very iffy on AT&T since the beginning of the year, because when they reduced their forecast for free cash flow, right? That's when the alarm bells in his mind was like, okay, so if you're going to go from 20 billion in free cash flow to, let's say, 17 or 18, and 8 billion is locked for dividend, right? Then the remaining is going to be a lot smaller pot, right, for debt reduction, because he's still stuck on the fact that AT&T has so much debt. But guess what? A lot of companies are getting into massive amounts of debt as well. Of course, there's some that are, much more conservative in their balance sheets and blah, blah. They're not spending as much. Instead, they're laying off. T-Mobile, for an example, right? They're laying off a lot of people instead of spending. Hey, we got a buddy of ours that got laid off.
I know, but I'm saying all the carriers do the job cuts.
Of course. But what I'm saying is that, we got folks like T-Mobile on the hook for the CPUC, that they were going to get to X amount of average across the entire state. and they need to spend more money. They haven't upgraded every single site to N41. I know that for a fact after traveling through California here
They
south.
definitely haven't, but I'm seeing more and more every, couple months.
Yeah, exactly. But, Sneed and I, we predicted that they're not going to meet the March deadline for 2023. It's just not possible with the amount of CapEx that they're spending.
Yeah, they can't even really do it in metros. They don't have enough millimeter wave up, so it's not going to happen.
I mean, look at Los Angeles, Chacha. I told you, right? Huntington Park, these really dense areas, Downey. I do a speed test there on N41 with the upgraded 200, 100 megahertz of N41, and it's barely crawling at 30. Now, of course, you might say 30 is fine. It is. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they promised average of 300 Mbps everywhere.
Yeah, that's not hitting the public commission's goals.
Yeah, the public commission is saying 300 average everywhere anytime because you have so much spectrum and you bought even more spectrum, right, from the 108 auction. So, and that's coming online here shortly. But again, unless you have the additional backhaul, unless you have the additional millimeter wave added on, right? Even C-band, right? You need the C-band. That's how you can get to 300 average. Oh, and I got to say this.
Moose, we know that C-band for T-Mobile is not going to clear until the middle of next year.
Right. That's why I'm saying eventually, right? And to add capacity, right? Wherever they need it, they're going to add that additional C-band panel. But big news, Chacha, and you know this. AT&T Stadium is the first stadium in the United States to have C-band in their DAS.
Oh, damn.
That's huge update.
That's very cool, man.
God
hey,
damn.
Moose, did you hear about Yankee Stadium and T-Mobile?
What are they doing over there?
They get the millimeter wave.
See,
damn.
This is what we need.
Yeah.
We need more millimeter wave from T-Mobile. That's right.
I'm just sick of people sharing speed tests when they're at football games and it's like the N41's failing.
They need 29 more parks blanketed in millimeter wave. They're the sponsors, for Christ's sake.
Right.
Yep. So what's the next topic, Chacha?
The financials continue. Broadband, which is their fiber, DSL, and fixed wireless, those revenues are up 6.1%. The fiber revenue specifically is up 30%. Dude, can you see why Stanky's like, to hell with fixed wireless access? Let's do fiber. Wow, man. They now have 100 metro areas that are served with AT&T fiber, 18.5 million locations. Expect more growth in fiber. They said margins are going to continue to improve this year. Free cash flow is at $3.8 billion for the quarter. The revenue for the quarter, $30 billion. AT&T is a profitable version of T-Mobile.
You said this on record. You said this for 4 quarters.
Like they grow and they grow and they grow in different segments of the business, and they make money hand over fist, man. They got a $55 ARPU on wireless mobility. They got a $65 ARPU on fiber. Those freaking guys know how to make money. Damn.
Yep. I really hope, and Pete, I think you can agree with what I'm about to say. I hope that one day T-Mobile cancels or reduces, does it in stages, their free lines. So stage 1, only 75% off. Stage 2, 50% off. Next stage, 25% off or 20%. Because if they had more money, they could reinvest it into the network, man. That's what I'm hoping one day.
So I wouldn't mind them getting. First, let's hit up MS's super chat for his trademark 271. He says, he's asking, is there any news on the special temporary authority from 108? It's a great show, and Boeing news is great.
Thanks.
Thank you for the super chat.
Sneed said it in chat, MS. FCC needs to approve it. Although
I don't see why not, though. I mean, they should.
I don't see why not. And for the markets where it's not, it's already clear. So you have to wait for the regulatory process for the red stamp to go license owned by T-Mobile, and they can either increase the antenna for the spectrum it's broadcasting, or throw a new one up in their gravy. I will say T-Mobile does need to get rid of the free line promos. Turn it into a Verizon joke with that Welcome Unlimited. You buy 4, you get 4 lines, you get the last 2 for free on that one. But you're hard capped to 150 megs a second on mmWave. But I would like, before they get rid of the free line promos, adding one to Magenta for Business Ultimate Unlimited, so I can save me $120. I might be a little greedy.
You guys ready for the network piece?
Yep.
All right, folks. So this is probably the most interesting thing. I think it's the most important thing personally. I'm a network guy. I love networks. It is official. AT&T has declared 100 million pops of C-band, 5G plus, N77. That is confirmed. AT&T has 40 megahertz of C-band on air today. They also have 40 megahertz of DoD that could also be on air, although I'm not sure any devices are actually aggregating it to get the interband aggregation up to 80 megahertz, but they have completely surpassed the initial beginning of the year projection, which was 70 million pops by end of year. They've already exceeded that, so they've gone beyond it by 30, and they are looking to get an additional 30 million pops by the end of the year to reach 130 million pops. Holy hell, that is crazy, because and there's a couple of things that happened here, folks. The first carrier to launch C-band was Verizon in any noticeable amount of pops covered. Verizon kind of started things off.
They also got most of A block for N77.
Right, but they gave 40 megahertz for AT&T to use for now. So AT&T has had the same access, just 40 megahertz instead of 60. So if you want to sit there and split hairs on speed, fine. But I'm just in terms of the pops, like Verizon's pace has been really fast, but AT&T's pace is faster, which sounds crazy, but it is true. So here's what happened. In the Cleveland market, there were a handful of sites that were getting upgraded in November of 2021. They were the first sites that were live in January of 2022. AT&T did not start building any C-band in my area until March or April. Since March or April, AT&T is moving much faster than Verizon, and Verizon is moving fast. A lot of people either were doubtful or didn't believe me and thought, oh, well, it ain't happening here. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting a lot of messages. I'm getting emails. I'm getting direct messages on Twitter, people commenting in my videos telling me what happened in Cleveland with AT&T's 5G plus C-band is now happening in my city. They started building out a month ago, and they hit the track running. The same thing happened with T-Mobile. Soon as they got going, they hit the track running. Soon as Verizon got going, they hit the track running. Once they get a groove, the upgrades are rapid.
So, Sneed, will my Pixel 7 Pro pick up AT&T's N77?
It will.
Good. Gotta get my loose blue line over on that one.
Only half of it, though.
I still want to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Especially in the dead zones in my city.
So, we actually have an update. If we want to share that about the Pixel, should we share that update?
Which update? I got mine in the mail?
No. We have a better update.
Ooh.
That I think you're going to like this. This
More
is
than
coming.
me getting mine?
This is coming directly from my Qualcomm contact. Okay, our guy that he's never been wrong. He's only given us good feedback, like we
Moose?
talked about it. Right? Go ahead.
Can we stage this?
The what?
Are we going to be wanting to send brewskis?
I have no idea what that is.
Good beer.
Yes, he's a very good connoisseur of all that the goodness. So he was telling me a couple things. Number one, the Pixel R&D team is hiring like nuts to be able to be at parity with the X65 modem, okay? Or any X modem from Qualcomm, right? Better than X60 and up, right? So right now, Pixel is focusing on getting their mmWave and their sub-6 at parity with the Qualcomm chips. That's number one update. So that's great. That means that they're working hard to improve the chip, because right now it's not that good, right, Chacha? I mean, it could be better, right?
The carrier services update that came for Verizon makes it pretty good. I think the trouble is just that half of N77. You know, that's the problem, Moose. I don't really see any other issues with the Pixel 7 Pro.
I'm gonna have to bust it out and give it a go. The only testing I had today was it was working better at my Kroger.
Here's the thing, though, Moose. These devices that are going onto the network, we just talked about the growth. This 5G plus build, the C-band build, the N77 build for AT&T, is really important, Moose. They're adding 800,000 customers a quarter. A lot of people have been talking about how like Verizon needs the capacity badly. Look at all their customers, which is true. Verizon does have the most customers on any network. But let's call a spade a spade. AT&T is a growing carrier. They're putting a ton of new users on their network. They need the C-band built out too. Moose, tell me about Dallas and tell me about LA. SoCal needs the 5G plus badly.
Badly.
For every carrier, by the way.
Exactly.
Everybody needs the C-band. Dallas has seen a night and day lift, right? Without C-band, some areas of Dallas would be completely congested to the point where it's unusable. And it was unusable in a lot of areas because there's just so many people, right? In LA, we are seeing sites with C-band that they're traveling 7 miles, Chacha. 7 miles. And we had T-Mobile saying that C-band is not a big deal. It's only going to travel 3 miles, 2 miles. Remember this?
Yeah, they're stupid.
It's traveling 7 miles, guys. I know because I know where the latest and greatest C-band site is.
I'm still trying to figure out where the people are that were talking shit to me 2 years ago when engineers were telling me this stuff is going to travel like AWS and PCS. And I trusted my engineer friends. And where are those people that were telling me I'm crazy and wrong and stupid? Where are those people now? I haven't heard a peep out of them for like, I don't know, 8 months since January when I was showing 3 and 4 mile range on N77 in rural Ohio. Where are those people?
Mm-hmm.
Why are they so quiet now? Where's Neville Ray? Where's Neville Ray with all of his tower density little demos and diagrams and graphs? Where's he at?
Well, I'm going to tell you. They're not going to come out with it because the moment their C block clears for N77,
they're using it.
That's going on air.
See, that's the thing, Pete. We're calling a spade a spade. How you going to talk shit about the stuff you spent $10 billion on?
And you're going to deploy it as fast as or faster than you're deploying the N41.
See, this is why we pay Pete the big bucks. Pete's got damn sense, let me tell you, man. Oh my God, these people are crazy. But those people have been mighty quiet, man. You know, very, very quiet. Nobody's coming out of the woodworks talking a whole bunch of shit.
Sneed, you don't pay me the big bucks. I'm the one who pays you.
But you get what I'm saying, Pete.
Yeah.
We put the trust in the engineering. We don't put the trust in the marketing.
I'd rather listen to an engineer than a PR guy, all 8 days in a week.
Yeah.
Heck, as an engineer, I prefer the 10-day week.
Well, it's twice on Sundays,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, actually, so check this out. AT&T's network their technology president was speaking. He said the massive MIMO gear has helped a lot. He said it's increased the spectral efficiency, it's increased the coverage. They said that the propagation is even better than we thought on C-band.
So the MIMO propagation for that, my back of the napkin math when it was being auctioned is if you MIMO it, if you go up to 64 by 64, which I don't think is doable, but if you're at 16 by 16, you should be finding around 45 to 50% more efficiency with it.
Yeah, very nice.
We got a $5 super chat from Austin's Tech saying AT&T 5G mid band, he said van, but I think he means band, is way better than T-Mobile. Can't wait to see it at my house.
Wow, so
I want everybody to have good mid-band.
Well, I mean, they're all going to be using this stuff. Every carrier has some form of C-band. So the fact that it's successful and it's performing well, we're very happy about that. And then we got the FAA still, and the aviation industry still fighting.
Dragging their balls because they're still powering their planes with coal.
My God. So we got that super chat. Thanks, Austin.
We got one.
Buddy.
We got a $5 one from Bam Blam.
Bam Blam. What up?
Saying during the earnings call, AT&T's chief financial officer said a lot of growth came from the Mexico market. What do you think that means about the Televisa prepaid deal?
Moose, is this facts?
That's interesting. It's very interesting. I have to look into that. I haven't read into that, but if that is the case, Mexico is very hot right now with AT&T.
Is that considered an emerging market?
Oh yeah, I mean, think about it. It's all upside.
Yeah.
Telcel is the de facto monopoly, right?
Yeah. Wow. So thank you, Bam Blam. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even look at that. The thing about AT&T is they've moved away from so many of their little side hustles, so many of their little, those little extra things that they had compiled under Randall Stevenson. So like we've already kind of like moved on from the video stuff, the media stuff, the Warner like Discovery and all that. We've already moved on from it, so we don't even think about any of the extras. But thanks for bringing it up and appreciate the super chat. Maybe it's something worth discussing on the next show. Take a look at some of those numbers. Let's see here. There was one more thing I wanted to note. Okay, so one of the questions I was getting on Twitter was, what does this mean for Verizon Wireless? Like, what does this say about them? And me personally, I don't associate anything AT&T does with Verizon. So, for example, who needs more pops of N77, Verizon or AT&T?
They both need it. Next question, Sneed.
Right, they both need them. So the thing about AT&T is they need them for their mobile network customers because they're growing, and then for Verizon, they're trying to double dip with fixed wireless access and also supply capacity for the largest consumer base. So to me, it's the same. You might be able to make an argument that Verizon has to do more because a lot of their sites are older. I mean, come on, Pete. Band 13 onlys, bro. Ooh.
They didn't get that Band 14 stimmy from the government, let me tell you.
Yeah. So, and Ricky, thanks for the membership, man. Appreciate you, bro. And we got another super chat from Austin's Tech.
Yep.
All right, I gotta go. But really good stuff. Amazing stuff. We'll definitely be talking a little bit, okay?
All right, Moose. Thank you, man.
Right, thank you. Later, guys. See you later, Pete. Later.
Later, Moose. So Austin's Tech says with the $5 super chat, N77 on AT&T travels longer distances than N41 on T-Mobile from my testing experience. Yes, N41 has some advantages and disadvantages. One of the disadvantages is if you increase the power too much, you're going to bleed out the upload time division. So you're limited on distance, loudness, and penetration. Hopefully, we'll be finding them moving some of the N41 over to N7 so we can aggregate the TDD with the FDD and rely on the FDD for the upload so they could just eliminate the need for an upload time on the TDD.
I also remember having a conversation.
If that's the case.
Well, Pete, I remember having a conversation with Caleb, and he said when they get the rest of that spectrum from Spectrum Auction 108, they can go higher power on the spectrum, right? So they can.
I was getting there.
Oh, go ahead, man.
So they have two options. They can go higher power because you have a larger block for the upload and the time. Or you could do aggregate it as both a TDD and an FDD, where you don't care if you squeeze out the TDD upload because it will be going over the FDD channel anyway. So we will be finding range increases with N41 within the next 2 years.
Nice.
And hey, I hope it's just as good as we're finding with N77, because that way people aren't like, man, I wish I was on this carrier because the signal just goes that far. No, they'd be on, man, I wish I was on this carrier because they give me the best thing to squeeze in the pot.
Well, how about this, Pete? How about the fact that if they started using some actual damn MIMO, they can do that? They haven't really invested naturally on a higher order MIMO. You know what I mean?
I think once they get in some of the markets all the N41 they can do, we could get 64 by 64 on that one.
That's my point, man.
Just
once it goes there,
just barely. We should be finding in most markets, hopefully by end of 2023, at least 16 by 16, which would give us even better feelings.
I should not be getting peak speeds of 700 on T-Mobile and peak speeds on Verizon 800.
Hey,
with half the spectrum. You know what I'm saying?
Ricky's pointing out that the new modernizations for N41 are indeed 64 by 64. Badass.
And that's why we're starting to see, for the freaking lucky people who have been connecting to the higher order MIMO, they're seeing like 1.3, 1.5, 1.9 gigs, dude.
That's how you get the gigabit speed on midband. You got to MIMO it up, man.
Yeah, man. Higher order MIMO. Verizon's going to be doing millimeter wave, CBRS, C-band. You know they're going to do small cells in their major markets.
Hey, did Verizon start doing 124 by 124 with their millimeter wave yet?
No, not even close.
Man.
Not even close, Pete.
Let me tell you, everybody listening, the moment carriers start doing 124 by 124 MIMO and millimeter wave, you're going to be like, why the hell am I paying for home internet?
You're going to start seeing 10 gigs per second on 800 megahertz of spectrum.
I think in like dirty conditions, we were expecting around 12.
Oh, damn. Oh, damn.
And those are dirty conditions.
So like with a so-so signal?
So-so signal, trees in the way, maybe somebody encroaching on you a little too much.
What about the frogs, Pete? What are they going to say?
They're going to be drinking the wine. Who cares? Bam Blam follows up with $5 super chat saying the MVNO deal AT&T made with Mexico's satellite television provider is like the deal Verizon made with Spectrum and Comcast and Cox.
Well,
yes.
I don't know, Pete. I don't know if I'm a big fan of these types of deals. The only time I'm a big fan in those deals is if you don't know how to grow your business, so you're going to have other businesses do it for you. That's how I look at Comcast and Spectrum, you know?
Hey, I was going to say, or you want another company to write you a check for some gator shoes?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, look, Verizon's not competing against T-Mobile or AT&T. You know, they're just like,
no,
hey,
they're competing with Verizon. So,
thanks, Bam Blam. Appreciate
my
it.
mother-in-law went from Verizon Wireless to save money. She went from them to Xfinity Mobile, and I'm like, just let me port your number onto my T-Mobile account. I have a free line. I'll just give it to you. You don't have to pay anything. She's like, no. She's an example of them competing with Verizon.
Yeah. A lot of people made that switch, Pete. They're adding collectively as big cable like 700,000 a quarter now. Like people have never been so cost sensitive. Like AT&T takes their share.
Yep.
T-Mobile takes their share, and then big cable takes their big ass share.
Which used to be Verizon's.
Well, if they go to big cable, Verizon gets some of the business, they just get less of it. Right? So the ARPU, instead of it being $60 or $55 or whatever.
It's like 15.
No, it's a little better than that. I think it's like 30 something.
I was gonna say 1750.
Yeah, if it was that bad, Pete, I don't think that they'd be playing ball, man. I think it's closer to like $30. I know that prepaid's like somewhere in like the low 30s, like 31. Like TracFone. I think TracFone at its worst was like $28. 31, 33 is a good quarter for prepaid. AT&T's got a really good prepaid ARPU. You know, they got a good thing going on with Cricket. By the way,
O2?
Dude, Cricket churn rate is like almost as good as like postpaid. Like in terms of like, okay, so you remember Sprint when they had like the postpaid churn of like 2.67?
Was I making jokes about Sprint at that point?
No, I don't. You remember when we used to do back in the day when Sprint was still in business and we'd ragdoll them, you know, because
those free lines were great at artificially inflating their share price. Although I must say they did a horrible job on the business evaluation, and it kind of ripped off T-Mobile.
And I remember when the share price for Sprint was down to like $4.07 or something crazy.
I should have bought that up like it was.
We should have bought 1,000 shares, Pete.
I could have bought 1,000 shares at that price.
Because do your math on that right now. I think T-Mobile's at what, $1.35?
Hold on, let me check my T-Mobile shares.
It's got to be at least $135. Gotta be. So if you bought 1,000, man, you're sitting pretty. I wasn't investing at the time. I wasn't in a position.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
You know, it wasn't until I, got the crib and we got settled in, I was able to start making some moves, you know.
Wasn't until I started working 3 jobs.
Well, the extra money, then you could start stashing it, man.
Yep.
All right, Pete. Verizon reports tomorrow, dog. What do you think, man?
Why are they even bothering?
Oh my god! You think Hans is gonna wear his new shoes?
I think it'd be smart for him to walk out in Crocs.
Hans is gonna step up there. 5G.
So T-Mobile, as of today, is up 0.2%, and they're trading at $136 flat.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. If you came in at that $4 price point, I think at some point, I feel like Sprint might have been less than $4, like $3.97 or something. Oh my god! And then the merger happened, and like it like skyrocketed.
Oh yeah, I kind of wish I got a dividend because
I think at the time, T-Mobile was at like what, $78 or something, $80.
I wasn't paying attention at the time.
Verizon was at like 60. AT&T was at 30 or something.
Let's see what AT&T's trading at right now.
AT&T's up today, man. They had a nice little run.
So I saw them at total. They're up 7.75% today. I saw them at $8 a share last week. So the kickback I'm getting in this dividend is going to be nice.
Is the AT&T dividend a quarterly or what?
It's quarterly.
Quarterly div?
Or was that Lumen?
Lumen's an interesting one.
By the way,
yeah,
I have 15 shares of Lumen because I'm still thinking T-Mobile might buy them at some point.
And then those become T-Mobile shares?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I see what you did there, Peter. I see what you did.
Also, when you're buying them up at like $7, $5, $10 a pop.
Well, you know how the great investors say, you can't time the market. You win when you have time in the market.
Yeah, so I'm just what I'm doing is I'm buying up some cheap stocks that I'm interested in that I think might be moving. And if they collect a dividend, I hold on to them and reinvest the dividend into the stock. And if they get bought out by a company of greater value, I just increased my holdings.
Well, I think the key to good investing is you find good companies selling at, or well, not selling, but valued at low prices because of market disequilibrium or whatever the hell's going on in the market.
Hey, that's what I'm trying to do, man.
Yeah, like Lumen, a fiber company.
Yeah, their cap is only $7 billion. T-Mobile could buy that out and load them up with Sprint debt.
Just roll it over, roll it on top.
I mean, didn't AT&T do that with Time Warner?
Yeah, but the scale of that debt, Pete. You're talking $7 billion compared to what, $100 billion?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Talking about $100 billion like it's some pocket money.
It is for some companies.
I mean, their enterprise value, I think, at AT&T is like $430 billion. It's pretty absurd.
Oh, yeah.
Their market cap's like 100 something, you know?
Yeah.
Nice job, Pete. Thanks for coming on the show tonight, man. You want to take us home?
Hey, I was gonna say, let's do 5 more minutes.
Oh, okay, sure.
Talk about initial reactions with my 7 Pro.
Ooh, go ahead, Pete. Let's hear it.
The screen is so much crisper. I'm surprised.
Hmm.
It's like people say, "Oh, the eye can't really tell the difference with resolution quality," but I swear, for all the freaky issues I have with my eyes, I can tell even a 5% bump in detail.
Are you talking about the screen resolution?
Yeah. Like, well, not the resolution, but the pixel density. It is up. I think RFK says the pixel density is the same as the S22 Ultra, which makes sense because that S22 Ultra is crisp. I looked at the base 7 and compared to my 6 Pro, the 6 Pro looks washed out.
I'll be honest with you, Pete. I've enjoyed every second using my Pixel 7 Pro. I have, unfortunately, because I was starting to love the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I really like the iPhone 14 Pro Max. It's a great phone. The Pixel 7 Pro, if
It
it
has according to RFK, it has 515 PPI. I can tell that.
yeah, I mean, to me, it's always about the display quality. Like, the reason I've always liked Galaxy devices, I've always felt they have the best displays, just the quality of the panel.
The like
Like, they're super
my
bright, they're
tab
super clear
4,
and all that stuff,
my tab 4 is still crisp, and that gets quad HD.
Yeah, it's a strong suit of the phone. I think the display is good. How's that camera, dude? I love the camera.
For some reason, I'm getting the focal point popping, but everything outside that seems washed out.
Okay, so I think that could be one of those things that gets updated, with these firmware updates, that come in, these software updates.
Yeah.
It's
I
it's possible that get addressed. I mean, it's just an app,
Yeah, I'm looking at I like that my focus I sent a certain goat prepaid eSIM or postpaid eSIM carrier the eSIM information on my phone off the box, and the eSIM ID was more crisp than life, but the floor was like 3 meters in the background. It was weird.
How's the cellular been on T-Mobile, Pete?
Well, I only tested it for today, and the only thing I noticed was, compared to the 6, pages were loading faster in the back of my Kroger.
Huh.
So it seems to be do a better job in my experience, loading on weaker low band.
So when I compare the iPhone to the Pixel wants to hold on to the mid band longer on N77 and like band 12, band 2, band 66, and it helps a little bit with in some instances, but when the iPhone wants to hang on to like band 13 and band 5, in a way it can help too. It just depends on the SINAR. So like it's all situational. I don't know what the algorithms are. Like I don't know what the code is written on the system, what it's supposed to do and how it's supposed to behave.
As I said, you remember what I said with the 6 Pro? It just hangs on that 5G midband.
Chaim is saying that the overheating issues are always a welcome pain for Google and Samsung phones. Takes a couple of updates to resolve it.
So I found it heating up, but that was when I just transferred everything over and I was just downloading apps again. 227 apps in 15 minutes. That could get your phone toasty.
So here's the one thing I'll say about the phones. Ricky's talking about what like S22 Ultra, 7 Pro. Like I have an S22 and I really like it.
I'm gonna say one thing though. I see the 22 Ultra as a flagship plus. So if the Pixel 7 Pro, which is what is it like $400 less than the Ultra, can be compared with it, it's a good phone.
Well, it's always relative, right, Pete? If you spend $500 on a device, you're not expecting it to perform like the typical $1,000 device.
Exactly.
Right? So like we can look at the Pixel lineup. We got a 7, comes in at $600. We got a 7 Pro that comes in at $900. Is the 7 worth $600 all day long?
Yeah.
Right? You could argue that at $899, the the 7 Pro is a good value too. In my opinion, the $100 difference between an iPhone 14 Pro and a Pixel 7 Pro makes that a push. Yeah, maybe the iPhone is a little bit better when it comes to RF right now.
Oh, there's another perk of the iPhone. If you spent $10,000 in the iOS ecosystem.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many factors, dude, but like I'm not spending $1,500 on a smartphone, so I'm not in the market for a Samsung Ultra.
I'm not. I mean, I get the 7 Pro, but I'm only paying like $480 after tax on it with trade-in.
What is the Samsung S22 Ultra? Isn't it like $1,200?
Ricky is saying it's 1,000.
It's 1,000,
which seems a little low.
Seriously?
I'm gonna check that.
Oh, so the price came down $100?
Oh,
at launch,
it's $200 more now.
Okay, well,
yeah.
All right. I mean, 512 gig. That's a hell of a lot of storage. All right, So the storage matters too, man. What's the 7 Pro coming with? A 128 entry?
I get the 128, but as we've pointed out before, I have unlimited photo storage on Google Photos.
See, storage matters too because nothing's expandable anymore,
Nope. But
so you got to figure out your cloud solutions or whether you're going to be on device.
I'm not going to lie. I'm paying Google $100 a year for 2 tera of just to hold my raw images.
I'll tell you what, Pete, man. I got an S22, and for all the hate that the Pixels get for getting warm, my S22 gets warm too, man. My iPhone gets warm too.
My Fold 2 gets warm.
These phones are getting very powerful and very strong, and they get warm. Cellular makes them warm. Speed testing, rendering video, recording 4K video, editing
taking
video.
Pictures.
Yes. Whenever the camera is on, literally heat starts getting produced. Just by launching the camera app, I swear to God.
The cameras are so powerful. The processor does so much work for processing those images. I'd be surprised if the cameras warm them up. Ricky says his S22 never gets hot. And Leo Gaming 83 says everything that uses electricity gets hot. Yes, everything that uses electricity gets hot because heat is thanks to Maxwell's equation, a form of energy, and energy is hot. So the heat is the energy produced in the confined system trying to expand out into the greater world. So
yeah, that's right.
Let's see. Lauren says, Pete, with T-Mobile, it's $15 for unlimited photo storage. Oh man. Lauren, send me that T-Mobile link because I wouldn't mind. I don't know. Is $15 a month cheaper than $100 a year? I don't think so. That's $200 a year. If I buy the 2 tera per annum, it's $100, and I can share that with 5 people too. So, yeah, let's close this out.
Take us home, Pete.
Let's see. How far back can I go with the super chats? I can go to the beginning of the show. Let's see. Super chats. We got MS throwing in a super chat. Thank you, MS. Austin Tex. Bam Blam. Yep, him and Austin both did too. So thank you to you three for submitting those super chats. That was quite generous of you. Let's see, hashtags. We got Save the Bear, Feed the Bear, Hug the Bear.
Ah, that's a good one, Pete. Huggy Bear.
Huggy Bear, yeah. Mod Squad.
Yeah.
Replay crew for those who are watching this in the past and just got to it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, what else?
That's pretty good, Pete. The Ravioli Gang.
Ravioli Gang for those who are eating or thinking about eating.
Amazing, man.
Let's see. Hashtag Tech Goat.
The tech
Hashtag Doxus Jesus. Hashtag Moose Sighting.
Yeah, there's a good one.
Hashtag Tech Buddha.
Got you in there.
Yeah, and hashtag Peace Out, y'all.
We out, man. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Moose. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.